I'm Catherine Kuntz, SIPA's Chief Operating Officer, and I'm here with Will Carter, SIPA's Solution Architect and IT Project Manager. And it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce Mike Mercer, who's with the state of Colorado, the Governor's Office of Information Technology, as the Cybersecurity Program Manager. And he's responsible for ensuring that local government entities are provided with cybersecurity resources. And this allows these entities the ability to strengthen their cybersecurity posture to protect Coloradans' information from compromise. Mr. Mercer is going to guide us through cybersecurity for the end user.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
How's everybody doing today? Awesome. How many cybersecurity folks do I have in the audience? Just anybody? Just one? Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Cybersecurity. You do cybersecurity or just IT? Or just general? Cybersecurity a little bit? Okay. All right. All right. Just this morning, I had a hard time getting out of bed. I was getting ready in the bathroom in my hairdryer right in the toilet. There's your dad joke for the day. All right. Anyways, my name is Michael Mercer. I was the Chief Security Officer for 31 years for the FBI here in Denver. I don't know if you guys ever seen any of my other presentations through the FBI. Retired last year and came to work for the state. And here I am now helping them out with their cybersecurity. And hopefully today you guys will learn something that you can take back to your own organization. This particular presentation is about the end user. I fully believe that's our first line of defense. If you guys haven't seen some of the other incidences that have occurred here in the last couple of months, it's been really, really hard on a lot of companies. MGM, I think I just read this morning, they're spending about $8.4 million each day because they're down. Okay? That end user is going to get you every time. We need to do a lot better job as security professionals to get the information out to that end user. Okay? And it doesn't also only mean for your own organization. Think about your family members. Think about your grandparents. Think about your parents, kids, all your relatives. Everybody needs it. We all have to work as a team to protect our data, okay? This is a book I read just a few months ago. I like the idea of what he's talking about here with the upcode and downcode. Downcode, all the stuff that goes in the computer, all your code. The upcode is us. That's the user, okay? Our adversaries, when I say adversary, I mean anybody that wants to do us harm when it comes to cybersecurity, whether it's a cyber criminal, or nation state. Most of your cyber criminals, it's all about the money. That's what they're looking for. They want that money. Our nation state, they want our information, okay? And several years ago, we had the OPM hack, our security clearances, all went to China. There was a lot of information on those SF-86s that they got, okay? A lot of the, healthcare stuff, that's been attacked. Credit card information. It goes across the board. It's all about information. That's what our adversaries want, is the information. The cyber criminals want the information because they want to lock it up from you. They want to steal it and then they want to sell it, okay? So it's always about that upcode and how we react to clicking on links, opening up attachments, providing our information to other folks. Okay? Sir. Can I borrow your phone real quick? No, I just social engineering. Why would you do that? I just social engineering. I'm just picking on you because you and I have the same head. Okay? Cybersecurity Month is coming up next month. These are the 4 things that are going to be talked about, the themes. Multifactor authentication. That helps out a lot. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But it does raise the level of your security. It does. It does do that. But it's not perfect. Security is never perfect. Fort Knox, no one's ever broken into it, but we've never been invaded either. Okay? It's not perfect. Using strong passwords and password manager. You know, I'm going to show you guys some passwords here in a little bit. Hopefully you don't use them now. But using any kind of dictionary word, any kind of combination of a dictionary word is not a good idea. There's so many password lists out there, and there's so many hacks that have happened already. Just about everybody's password's out there right now anyways. So be very, very careful on your password. Updating your software. Keeping that operating system up to date, keeping your applications up to date. I know sometimes it is difficult because you're in production and you're running and you're making money and stuff, but I'm telling you, it's going to bite you in the butt eventually. it will bite you in the butt. You've got to figure out a way to keep that software up to date. And of course, the big one right here, recognizing and reporting phishing. That is probably the number one way, or actually I think it is the number one way that an adversary gets into a system, is phishing. How many of you guys received a phishing email? Just everybody. I just got some just the other day. It was hilarious. I had some fun with it, and I'll show you. You guys might get a kick out of it, what I did. But also, having us be able to provide that information, like I said, one to our organization, to our users, and the other one to our family members and whatnot, and our associates, our friends, keeping those guys safe too. I know this is very difficult to look at, and I had to put it up here. How many of you have your information on the internet? Everybody raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand. How many of you have social media? No. How many of your family members have social media? Your kids have social media. You have social media. Okay? Even though you may not think you do, you really do. Okay? These companies right here, this is from, I believe this was back in 2021. These are the companies that gather information on us from our apps, from when we're on the internet, from when we buy a car, when we buy a home, whatever you were doing, credit cards, the whole 9 yards. They buy and sell this information to whoever wants it, okay? That's 2022. It's got a little bigger. It is big business. How many of you guys ever heard, let's see, I'm trying to think of the term. Wait a minute, you know what? It's always fun when you take notes and you don't remember things. Credit bureau, okay, here we go. Credit headers. How many of you have credit cards? Everybody. 82% of Americans have credit cards. Credit headers are information about you that's sold. And they use it for fraud and whatnot. But the problem is some people buy it and they sell it to other folks. And then they are able to dox people with it. Okay? And I'm talking about your name, your date of birth, current and past addresses, and possibly even your social security number and telephone number. What is that? That's PII. Why are they selling that information to folks? Because they can make money on it, okay? This is one of the things I did in the Bureau a few years ago. We had a team put together, and we called it digital exhaust. Some people call it digital footprint, okay? We looked at it from our employees and what the adversary can do to attack our employees. These are some of the things we found out here, some of the stuff that's in your control. You know, your social media stuff. Do you guys lock down your social media just to yourselves and your friends, or do you open it up to everybody? Who has LinkedIn? It's pretty much open to everybody, isn't it? There's a lot of information on LinkedIn about you, what you're doing, what you've been doing, what maybe you're about to do. What about your kids? Are they putting anything on their social media about what you guys are doing? Your wife, your spouse, your husband, whoever. Are they putting stuff out there, what you're doing? Again, the adversaries are looking at that. What about your company? Are you putting any information out about what your company's doing, about to do? Now, it's not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the adversaries are going to use that against you, okay? Just be aware of that. And some of the stuff that's not in your control. How many people here own a home? I can go online, go on the county assessor's office, and bam, I got your address. Go on Google Maps, plug it in there. Now I know what your house looks like. I had one of my task force officers when I was back at the bureau said, "Oh no, I got all that taken off of there." I said, "Okay, that's good, but I can look at your neighbors. I can just plug in the address and see who's on either side. Maybe I might not see your house that you blocked from Google, but I can see your neighbor's house. That doesn't do you any good, does it?" All right, Mike, you're right. Sorry. So, anyways, I'm just saying there's a lot of information out there. You got to be aware of it. You got to know that it's there, and just be aware that that's what's going to be used against you when you get that phishing email. When you go online, do you think you only go to one website? Nope, you do not. This is Lightbeam. It's an extension on Firefox that you can put on your browser. Kind of gives you an idea, excuse me, about all the sites that you go to and all the sites that you don't go to. Those other sites, you know, there may be more content on there that your main site is put into, but they're also looking at your browser, your operating system, you know, how big your photos are on your, what language you're using, what time zone you're in, all that good stuff. And all that stuff is being used to basically get a dossier about yourself. You guys ever start searching on the internet and all of a sudden start seeing those ads pop up on the side of the stuff you just searched? There you go. There was one thing, I think it was a couple years ago, we talked about Facebook. And somebody was talking about going on vacation. And they had their Facebook app open, and then like a couple minutes later, they got all these different advertisements about this place that they wanted to go on vacation with. I don't know how true that was, but it wouldn't put past me. The amount of information it's gathered from our phones, those apps. I like to call phones personal surveillance devices, because that's kind of what they are. You guys put all your information in your phone? Everything. Just about where you're going, your calendar, your contacts, what you're searching, and whatnot. Okay. So browser fingerprinting, this is one of the things that organizations do out there to pinpoint you on the internet. I can tell you this, it's very accurate. It's extremely accurate. There's ways that you can get around that, but that will be a different session. But just be aware of that when you're online, when you're using your phone, when you're using your laptop, your desktop, or whatever, and you're searching through the internet and you're doing what you're doing, all that information is being gathered. And all that information is being sold. I can buy this credit card, whatever it takes. I can go out online and buy zip codes, or buy a zip code with all the email addresses associated to that zip code. Okay? Here's the Verizon report. Anybody remember seeing this before? Okay. Big one up there. 83% of breaches involving external actors. I think that might be a little bit higher. I think even some of these numbers are a little low, just because a lot of companies, organizations don't report they've been attacked. A lot of companies and organizations don't even know they've been attacked. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Just pop a hand up, whatever, we'll talk about it. 74% involve the human element. There's that social engineering thing again. You know, getting somebody to click on that link, open that attachment, give up their PIN code, multi-factor authentication, you know, a number of things. Phishing, get those credentials, you know, ransomware, I think that's still a little bit hot or a little bit low. I think it might be a little bit higher than that. But yeah, it's a jungle out there. There's no doubt about it. It's a jungle.
I have a question.
Yes?
So I walk away that they use the screen resolution, like right on your drop out. What would you gather from the screen resolution?
They won't gather anything other than everybody's screen resolution is a little bit different. There is, I can't remember the name of it, EFF.org has a site, you can go to their site and they have a little browser that you can click on and it'll test it and it'll show you all the information that's gathered. So when it comes to your size of your browser, everybody's browser is a little bit different. But here's the thing, you have your operating system, you have your time zone, you have a whole bunch of other different data points that's used. It's not just your browser size, it's all those other things that go in. That's just a small piece of the pie. So they use all that together. There's a unique ID when you head to a website. You got your cookies that are on the website that goes onto your browser. All that stuff is used to identify you as you go through, as you pass through the internet. There was one report I read, they did an experiment, I can't remember what university it was, but they had like a 99.9% accuracy of the devices, just because of all the information that was gathered. All right, passwords. I see smiles. How many of you have used these passwords or are using them now? They're using them. People still use them. They're out there, and the adversaries are just going to town with them. Be very careful what passwords you use. Get those complexities in there. Go ahead, sir.
What about a combination of short dictionary words like 12 characters, like that are reading
I could,
character words?
from my experience,
That is a long dictionary.
yeah, from my experience, if you're using just dictionary words, even together, I'll show you something here in a second. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea. Yep. Go back.
I have an app called Cybersecurity, and it generates passwords for me, like, you know, but then that, like, isn't that app vulnerable to attacks just like anything else?
Everybody's vulnerable to attack. I think KeyPass had an issue not too long ago, if I remember right. It's not to say, like I said, it's never 100%, but it's better than using any of those words. So you're raising, what you're doing, you want to raise your level of security as high as you can, okay? Get that, we used to call it security in depth. All these different processes that will stop that attack is what we used to talk about. Go ahead, sir.
What about strings of dictionary words for parts of the dictionary word replaced with symbols or letters?
Yes, you want to, yeah, and I'm going to get to that here in a second. So here's the strong password, the complexity, okay? Randomize. Are we good at randomizing things as humans? Absolutely not. We're not. So it's always good, that password generator you talked about, doing that. What you can do with your password, and particularly your password generator, is you can add an extra character to the end. And just remember that particular character. So all your passwords, say you have 10 different logins, 10 different passwords. You can add that extra character at the end that you know, but it's not in the password manager. But when you plug it in to your account, you just add that extra character and you're good to go. So if that password manager account gets compromised, it's still not the same password. It's a totally different password. Did somebody have their hand up over here? No? Okay.
Excuse me, you're advising people to use password manager?
Yes,
Okay.
a password manager, not just whatever you decide to
I
use.
don't advise my users to do that.
CISA says it, FBI has said it, it's good, it's a good idea, but it's up to you. It's your personal preference.
Well, if you can convince me it's a good idea, I mean, what?
Well, let me keep talking and maybe
Okay.
I will. How's that? Go ahead.
So are they enforcing these passwords as far as, how are they usually getting the passwords? Or are they just literally just typing?
Well, I can tell you this. If you get a phishing email and you have a password like the one I show you right there, and you give it up, that doesn't make any difference if you're using a password manager or not. If you write it down and stick it on your laptop, it doesn't matter, you know? So there's always that layer of risk that you have to look at. The password managers are good because we as humans, like I said, we don't randomize things very well. We put passwords in that we can recognize ourselves. They always say your pets, the street you live on, you know, your kids' names, things like that. Adversaries will look up your information. They will go to your social media sites and they will look and see what is going on in your life. Think about your password right now. Any of your passwords. Does anybody use anything that's associated with them? Nobody? You don't think so? Okay, good. That's good. But I can tell you, I've been to other places and talked to other people, and they do that. If I send 10,000 emails to a company, how many emails does it take for me to get into that organization if somebody clicks on the link or opens up an attachment? One. That's all that matters. Okay? And two, depending on how that organization saves those passwords. How many IT folks do we have in here, administrators? Anybody? You guys salt your passwords on your domain, in your domain controller? Yes, salt them? Absolutely, because if you don't, they're done. That hash is, it's too easy now. Everybody talked about AI and how that's affecting it big time. Because that AI is going to go out there and search other information about you. It's going to put all that stuff together and start spitting out passwords that might be something similar to you. The last one down there, that's taking that my coffee table is nice with those extra characters on there. You know, that's one thing I do like about Macs. You can add that Unicode at the end. Windows is a little bit more difficult. And I've tested that, it works. That you're just making that password even larger. So there you go, 94 possible characters on a keyboard. 10 characters, 94 times 10, there's the number, that's how many it'll go through. And if you guys, and I don't look for bit wording, but they got a pretty cool little website you can go to and plug your password in and see how long it says it takes it to crack. So when we're talking about passwords, ma'am, you can talk about that. Have your folks do that and check it out. So here's AI here to check your passwords for PassGen. 10 characters, it says 5 years there. I've seen other ones, it's a little bit less. I know some organizations are going to 14 characters. But I would definitely uppercase, lowercase, letters, symbols, you gotta throw that stuff in there. But don't throw it in there as password with a 0 for the A and a 1 at the end. That doesn't work, doesn't count. But get those passwords longer, you're gonna have to. And that's why they're talking about password managers, password generators, because we are not good at that randomization at all.
Is this just, you're talking about brute force right here?
This is brute force, yeah. Yeah, now if you have it set to where after 3 attempts it locks out, that's great. I mean, you definitely should be doing that. There's no doubt about it. On your phones, how many people use PIN codes for their phones? Everybody? Okay, how many use 4 digits? Got one 4-digit, another 4-digit, another 4-digit? Okay. With an attacker, what are the 2 things that attacker needs to do to get into your system or device? Physical access, remote access. So I get your phone, that's physical access, right? Okay, pull your phone out, look at your phone. If I grabbed your phone, how would I know your PIN code? How can I figure it out? Fingerprints, absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you this, I showed this to my wife. She's a principal now, but before she was a school teacher. She took it to school to her I think it was her 4th graders at the time, showed them how to do this. They went home the next day and a couple of kids came back and said they got in their parents' phone. Okay? So when I look at that phone, and you're using 4 digits, okay? And I see the fingerprints on it. Each one of those, 0 through 9, 4 chances, right? But I know which numbers there are now because I can see them on the fingerprint. So the first one I have a chance at is 4 chances, 3 chances, 2 chances, and 1 chance. Possible combination is 24. How many of you guys have your phone set to where after 10 or is it 11, I think it's 10 chances, it locks up on the iPhone? Hopefully you do. If you don't, 4 pins, I see your fingerprints. Not 20% of the people do left to right, top to bottom. Because that's how we read. So now I know your PIN, I get in your phone, game over. Change it to 6 or use a password, but don't use one of those ones I showed you earlier. Yes, ma'am.
I used to teach my users, instead of picking a number that would be memorable to them, to pick a pattern on the keys, like skip, do this.
That's fine too. That's fine too, but just remember, I can still see them if they're using 4. If it's 6, it's much harder. Now we're talking a long time. There's equipment that you can use to get into it, but you don't have to worry about that unless you're a bad person and FBI is coming after you.
Is there any difference in security to the other types of password systems for a phone, such as patterns or?
I'll tell you a pattern thing. One of the tech agents that I worked with back in the bureau, he had a pattern on his, and this is when I first started doing all this stuff. This is years ago. He goes, you don't know mine because, yeah, I have a pattern. I'm like, well, okay, let me see your phone. And I looked at it, and you can see the pattern when he did the swipe. And I just went like this. I went, here you go, here's your phone back. So, yeah, now, I recommend playing Candy Crush because then you're going to mess your phone all up, and you don't have to worry about all that stuff or sit there and wipe it on your pants every now and then. You know, you can do certain things. There's always certain things you can do. I'm just telling you that as an adversary, I am thinking outside the box. I'm always looking to see if there is an opening, always. You guys have to do the same thing. Yes, ma'am.
Fingerprint readers, are they accurate now? I used them years ago and they weren't very accurate.
I haven't used them in a while, but I know they are now. They're getting better. They're much better. There's no doubt about it, yeah. All right, MITRE attack. Has any of you guys ever seen this before? Getting back to the users again, okay? When I started, I got my pilot's license back in the late 90s. And one of the first things my instructor pilot told me was, you've got to break the chain of events. If you don't break the chain of events when you're flying, you're going to crash. It's the same thing in cybersecurity. You want to break the chain of events. As a user, you are in this first couple of ones right here, okay? When it comes to reconnaissance, I talked about this before, about the adversary going out and getting that information about you. They're going to want to try to get you to click on a link or open up that attachment, okay? If you don't do it, their attack is done. If you don't open that link, you don't open that attachment, or you don't give up your credentials, the attack is done. You've just broken that link. Goes right back in the initial access, breaking that up right there, not allowing that to occur. I can create the meanest and baddest malware in the world, but until I get it on your computer, it's just a bunch of ones and zeros. That's all it is. Okay? Break that chain of events. Stop it at the very beginning. If your folks are getting emails, have a process in place to where they can send them. Because if one's getting it, there's a pretty good chance other folks are getting it. You can try to get on top of it. And you can also share that information with your other colleagues. Because if your organization is getting attacked, I'm telling you, other organizations are getting attacked too. They just don't go after one. It's the big net. They're looking to get in. They're looking to get you. So VPNs. How many people use VPNs on their personal devices? Very good idea to do. Do not use free ones. There's some free ones out there. Do not use them. You don't even know who has that on the other end. They're seeing all your traffic going by. Don't use the free ones. Use something that's paid and that you are recognizable for that. Read their privacy statements. How many of you guys read the privacy statements of your apps when you download them? Your software when you download it? You don't. I highly recommend you read those privacy statements. They are gathering a lot of information from you. Not to say that you don't want to download the app or the application or the software or whatever, but just be aware of that. Be aware of what is being gathered. Okay? You can go to that nationalprivacytest.org. It's a pretty cool little site. If you want to send that to your colleagues and whatnot, it goes through like a little bunch of privacy and security questionnaires and stuff and asks folks, what they're doing and what they can do to secure their devices and whatnot. But it's really, really a good website. So when it comes time to emails, take your time. You have to click it on email as soon as you get it. You have to open that attachment as soon as you get it. Slow down. I know we love to do the clicking. There's no doubt about it. But just take your time. Ask your coworker, hey, did you see this email? Looks kind of weird. Check with your supervisor. Hey, this email looks weird. Is this right? Go to your IT department, whoever. Take your time. You don't have to open those up. We get so many emails, it's ridiculous. How many of you guys have a junk email box that you just throw stuff to? Yeah. It's off the wall. I remember my dad years ago complaining that he'd get all this mail, before email, mail in the mailbox. Well, this is junk. Throws it out, throws it out, throws it out. But nowadays, we all get it, and everybody opens it up. Ma'am, you had your hand up?
Yeah, the phishing has gotten really, really bad.
Yes.
I have a neighbor who somehow lost every penny in his bank account to a phishing incident. And, looking at, fortunately, he didn't have much in it.
Yeah.
But all of it was gone.
Yep. And sometimes, depending on how fast they report it, will depending on if they can get the money back or not. And that's the hard part. That's what I was talking about before, about our parents, our grandparents and stuff, because they have email, they're getting this stuff, and they are getting scammed. Even with the voice, they talked about, that's another thing that's popping up with AI. People posting videos online, they grab that audio, they throw it through the AI, and next thing you know, they have this whole script. Hey, I'm in jail. Can you send me $100 or $1,000 or something like that? AI is good. AI is bad. It all depends what you're using it for. It's no different than any other tool. I can use a hammer to hammer nails and build a house. I can use a hammer to hurt somebody with it. So and I'm getting back to that. We got to get out and get with our folks to help them understand what's going on. It's about learning the system. I always tell folks, if you learn the system, you can manipulate the system. You're better off. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a board of folks that are up in age, and that's my struggle right now, is that they want to use the technology, but they don't want to learn how to use the technology.
Yeah.
And so then I get, it's really a struggle.
Yes.
Because I'm like, you can't use it if you don't want to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pain in the ass.
And to that point, this is some of the same things I've seen, at least in the cybersecurity profession or the security profession. We're up here all the time preaching all this stuff, and there's a lot of us out there. They say no a lot. no, you can't do this, no, it's the end of the world if you do this. It's not. It's the communication. It's that presentation part of it that I think goes a long way, that folks can use to get the point across, but not be that overbearing person, if that makes sense. You know, I want people to do cybersecurity.
There's just some that, you just can't quite get through to.
Yeah.
And it's not even on cybersecurity, it's even just like text messages, the alerts are irritating or something, and whatever. But yeah, it is kind of a struggle to get people to understand that if you're gonna use the technology, then you have to try to learn use it, you gotta also learn.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so here we go. Real-time stuff. This is kind of old this time. Still real, but it's old. One of my folks got this years ago in the Bureau. Phishing email. I've highlighted it. You can see where all this stuff is goofy out of it. Gov.org, benefits should, if residents if, it's always the same thing. Look at those emails, look at the spelling, look at the grammar. Most of all this phishing stuff is coming from overseas. They don't know English very well, and they definitely don't know how to write it. So there's always going to be something in there. Now, I'm going to say always, because now we got AI to worry about, because I can just sit on AI and have AI spit out an email for me. Yes, sir.
I think I've also heard with some of that stuff is that's intentional misspellings and things like that. Because people that'll look too close to it normally waste their time. Because they're going to be able to know. So it's kind of like they want the gullible people that won't pick out these little discrepancies.
Very possible.
Better.
That goes back to the upcode I talked about earlier. That's the psychology part of the phishing email. Putting stuff up there that's not here, but red, flashing. I was doing something yesterday. I saw something on one of my sites, my security sites, and they were talking about Meta, and that you can go to Meta and have them start deleting all your information that they gather on you and stuff. And it was interesting when I was going through the process and stuff. Somehow I must have typed something wrong, and all of a sudden on this computer right here it starts flashing. You don't have any antivirus. You're getting hacked. I mean, it was going to town. I'm like, oh well. I hit the off button, and it was fine because I knew that in the background it was just running scripts to do that stuff, get you to click on something. I just turned it off, turned it back on, did a quick virus scan on it. Everything was fine. But some folks don't know that. They don't know that to do that, and they're going to get scammed out of all that goodness from themselves. When I was finishing my master's, I was at Regis. Anybody go to Regis? Went to Regis? Any alumni? No? Okay. When Regis got hit several years ago on ransomware, shut down the whole school. It was right at the time we were going back for the fall semester. All the new students were coming in, and they got hammered. Look at this right here. Tell me if you see something or anything that looks suspicious about that email. Anybody? Yeah. Yep. What else? Yep. Important is really big. Regards OneDrive team, blah, 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 who the hell that is. There's nothing, boom, that's a phishing email, no doubt about it. Now, I don't know for sure if this was the one that they used to get the malware on there, but when I did go to that view file, I copied the link, and that's what the link looked like. If that was for me, it shouldn't look like that. I did try going to that link, but it was already down. That's weak. It was a week by the time I got this. So there's certain things you can do to figure things out, but, folks are just clicking on stuff, opening attachments, and bam, bam, bam. I think this is, let's see here if this is the next one. Okay. This one right here, I did a presentation years ago for up in Wyoming. How fast does it take for an attacker to get into your system? Anybody have any idea? Or just want to guess?
20 seconds.
20 seconds? 15?
Really depends, but 5 seconds?
It depends on how fast the typer is. How's that?
Yeah.
This is me. It took a little bit more than 20 seconds to get in. But this was a lab demonstration I did for them. The antivirus that was on the machine did not catch the code, and I was able to get in. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it. So right there, I'm copying their website, their main website, and I'm going to put that in a phishing email. put up there something about, hey, you need to change your password, you need to go, log in, do whatever it takes to fix your stuff. And this is Kali Linux, if anybody hasn't seen this before. It's a social engineering toolkit. Anybody can download it and use it for good, or if they can use it for bad.
You were doing this live in front of them?
Yeah. Their CEO, eyes lit up. But they changed a bunch of things, so, that was a good thing. What's that?
How much was it to download?
It's free. And this is just one of many that are out there on the internet that you can get.
We use this in our classes, like for my master's classes, and so you have to imagine how many people are not students really in
Yeah.
the class.
Yep. So you can see I'm a slow typer, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer. There you go. Minute 37. Let me go back. I think I can go back and you can see, well, at the very end, I had a shell command, so I was on that device. And when I was showing you here next, if I can get it here, I'll go back. Yeah, you got it. Say goodbye. Okay? Minute 37, and that's just me. That's not to say that somebody else is needing faster or a little bit slower, but a lot of times when these adversaries get into your system, they don't automatically do something right off the bat. They're going to be in there for a while because they got to search around. They got to see what's going on. They got to see where the files are at. They got to see a whole bunch of different things. I think it was something like 90 days, I believe, is the average an adversary is in a system before somebody finds out about it. Some of them, it's even longer. I think there was like a year and a half before they knew that anything was wrong. So it's really bad, but like I said, somebody's got to do something. Somebody's got to click on a link, open an attachment. Yes, sir.
Sorry, I didn't see it. What was the vulnerability that you exploited there to get in?
That was an HCA attack, the code with that, and it was for Windows. And by clicking on it, it opens up a shell command, a remote shell command. So I had remote access to that particular device right there. I didn't have access to the network or anything like that. That was my initial, like I went to your house and you gave me the key to get in your house and open the door, I'm in your house. I don't know where to go yet, but I'm in your house. That's what that was right there. And then this right here is just a simple command that if you did this on your Windows machine, you would delete everything on your C drive. Ransomware. Anybody who does code? Anybody does code? Any coding? What does that look like? I know it's not a real test. I'm just asking. See at the top? That's Go language. Golang. Crypto AES, Crypto Cypher, Crypto RAN, format iOS OS. If you ran that on your computer, on your Windows machine, guess what will happen?
It'll encrypt your drive and give you.
Encrypt your files.
Yeah.
It's a file encryptor. It took me about 2 hours to look that stuff up on the internet and put that program together. 2 hours. Anybody and their brother nowadays just go online and they can go to ChatGPT and do the same thing right there. That was on my phone. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. How long have you been doing the white hat?
Probably, I started back in 2011, 2012. Yeah, but I've been around electronics. When I first got in the Bureau, I was an electronics technician. I was in the Coast Guard. I did aviation, fixed radars and radios and all that stuff. Came in the Bureau, that's what I did there. And then that's when, a lot of you young folks don't know this, but back in the early 90s, we can only email inside our own organization, our own office. That was it. We didn't have anything on the outside, and only 4 people had computers when I first joined the Bureau. But I used to fix computers and, motherboards, the whole 9 yards and stuff. So that's kind of where all my experience comes from, is electronics and then getting into the security side of the house and whatnot. But what I was just showing you guys here is that I got the ChatGPT app on my iPhone to create a Python file encryptor. And that's what it spit that out right there in about 10 seconds. So it just makes everybody a hacker is what it does. And just with a little bit of time, a little bit of, resources, you can start doing things. That's the botnet, those kids up in Alaska that did that stuff. They just started grabbing information here, getting on these little chats with their other hacker buddies and stuff. And next thing you know it, you got the Merari botnet. So what can we do as security professionals? Training and education. Training, yeah, we can go check the old boxes, give them the old once a year training awareness stuff, or we can actually give them some education like this right here. Get them to understand what's going on in the background. You can go take your car to get your oil changed, but do you really know what's really going on with the technician? What are they doing? Are they really changing your oil? Give them some education about it. They know what to check. They know what to look for. And of course, that's security minded culture. We are not at that point right there. I don't know if we'll ever get there. I know we can. It's difficult. But as things keep progressing as fast as they are with all the incidents that are occurring out there, I think eventually we all have to be security professionals. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Get them on your phone. The one on the right, that's what I got on my phone one time. This is an organization I helped out, did a presentation for. They spoofed the supervisor's phone number and sent them a text, asked them, the employee, to go out and buy eBay gift cards. Do all kind of crazy stuff. Business email compromise. You probably guys heard of those, getting those emails from the CEO or CFO. Hey, transfer $1 million to this account. Okay. Off it goes. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya, Here's one. I just got this one just the other day, the UPS package one on my state phone. The one on the left. Remember I talked about privacy and permissions and stuff? Look down at the bottom here. Look some of the permissions that you are giving this particular app when you download it on your phone. The next question I have for you, does anybody know, but you probably don't, but maybe, what app is this from? I'll give you a hint. It had to do with winter of 2020, particularly in February. No, it's the Chinese app that they wanted everybody to download on their phone when they came to the Winter Olympics. All the players, all the attendees. And when you download that app, you're giving that app all these permissions. Okay? Oop. Here we go. That one you showed on the right, that text, this is one of the UPS. Look at the very top, URL. Look at those URLs. It's going to give it away every time. If you don't look at it, you're going to put your full name in there. You're going to put your credit card information in there. And guess what? The adversary has all that goodness. This is the one I got from the phone here. And I go ahead and put stuff in there. Anybody recognize any of the stuff that's on there? 853-27001 for the zip code, butt face. I was thinking about other stuff to put in there, but I knew I had a presentation, so I didn't want to get too crazy. But when you did that, then it takes you to this page, and now they want your credit card information. Now you got your name and address, your zip code, what they need for your credit card, and then of course all your credit card information includes your CVV number. And of course, look at the top, you can see that it's not the same. That charge, it's all different up at the top. So I just put that stuff in there for the billing address to see what happened next. That's the actual number that they had in the text message for the tracking. So I just said, well, let me copy and paste that and put it in the real tracking for USPS. And there's where it comes back to. It's bunch of BS stuff just to throw in there to do that. And then I went and took that URL, got the IP address, and then found out that it was hosted in China. So there's not much I was going to call. I had an incident here at the state where they were spoofing one of our sites. I called the hosting provider, and they took it down in like 5 seconds when I gave them the URL and stuff. And then there it is right there. That's the one there. Okay, wrap it up. Here we go. Faulty factor, passwords, update software, recognizing, phishing, all that good stuff. This right here, just before I left the bureau, I helped out with this case. Everything I taught you guys today, I gave the same type of presentation to that individual. It works. the stuff works. This guy's still alive. They didn't get it. Questions? Comments? Get out of here, I'm old. Well, yes, sir.
Do you guys do any free events for like those white hat instances? I think seeing it in person is just like different than television. Nobody around the state.
Yeah, I go out and I do presentations like this, and I try, if I have enough time, I'll set something up and show folks, you know, kind of give them an idea. I'll set up a little small lab, and I got another computer that I use, and use a virtual machine, and I can do a couple things and they can see it.
But do you know of any like open to all conferences?
Not that I know of, no. I'm sure you can get some company to pay them and do it, but the free stuff, no, I'm not. Ma'am?
I'm interested in how to educate all of our parents, because my mom told me she was like filling out like a application to renew her passport. I'm like, oh, please don't put that information.
Yeah.
Know what you're doing.
That's the hard part, getting the folks together. Shoot me an email, we can talk, and I'll give you some stuff if you want, just for your, you know, your parents' stuff. I've gone up to Boulder and done stuff for there's a big retirement community up there, and I've done stuff for them for another company and stuff, so. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.